as the supervising sound editors on this movie, at what point in the production does your work begin?
Well, in this case, it actually started before the shooting had started by a few months. We had a meeting with John Krasinski and just sort of spent some time talking about the project and the possibilities of what sound could bring to the experience of watching the movie. And then we read the script and started thinking more about it, and it sort of carried on from there. We next really started getting down to work when we actually had an early cut of the movie that we could actually start applying sound to.
Did the lack of sound in the movie make your job more difficult or a lot easier?
You know, I think audiences might often think that movies that have a ton of sound, wall-to-wall sound, are the most complicated and difficult films to make. And I think the opposite is often true. And with A Quiet Place, that was definitely the case. You know, when you're in such a quiet world where everything is just stripped down to its the basic level, every sound you do play becomes so important. So in a sense, small sounds become really important, big sounds as well. And and in the case of A Quiet Place, sound is necessary to survival. If the family makes a sound that is just a little bit too loud or in the wrong situation, they will die. So they've had to adapt as a family in this universe and learn how to live quietly, to the point where they have to pour sand on trails so that they don't step on crunchy leaves or twigs. They have to paint floorboards that are safe to step on so they don't make a wood creak that's too loud that would attract the attention of one of these monsters. And of course they communicate in sign language. Unfortunately, their daughter, Regan's character, played by Millicent Simmons, they know how to speak with their hands, and they probably wouldn't have survived if they couldn't. So for us as sound designers, all of everything we do, every sound we put in the movie really has to follow those rules, follow that logic.
So what about that made it really difficult for you?
Because in any other movie, a footstep might just be a footstep. But in this movie, a footstep was obsessed over for months. And so like I said, every little sound became totally obsessed over for the entire process of the movie. Do you have anything to add?
Well, maybe just that, we spent a lot of time really sort of designing the transitions between going into different sonic point of views, what John Krasinski came to term as sonic envelopes. And so basically we spent just figuring out how these transitions could work and how we could use the sound to sort of pull the audience into this headspace, even if the visuals weren't necessarily doing it, because we're not seeing visually the character's point of view, but through sound we're able to take the audience there, and figuring out sort of how to make that work was definitely one of the challenges.
The movie was a huge hit. I love it. It's like one of my favorite movies now of all time.
Oh, wow.
What were you most proud of in regards to your work in A Quiet Place?
Well, for me, and this might sound strange having a sound designer say this, but my favorite moments that I'm most proud of in the film are the moments of complete silence. And we've never been able to do that in any of the movies we worked on. And those moments, there's really 3 moments in the film where that happens, and that's where Millicent Simmons' character Regan turns off her cochlear implant, and that's where just everything disappears. And actually, the scariest scene in the film for me is when she turns off her cochlear implant and something intense is happening, and we as an audience know something intense is happening, but she doesn't. And we can't hear anything, she can't hear anything, and in a way that's like pulling a rug out from underneath the audience, not having that comfortable, warm bed of sound to just ease your tension. It's in the complete silence. It's just white knuckles, clenched teeth, holding your breath. And to me, that was kind of amazing to be able to create that kind of immersive experience for the audience and make them feel so intensely.
I get shivers again just hearing you talk about that. I'm just remembering that part of the movie. It was incredible. What's the most rewarding aspect of being a sound editor?
Well, I think the most rewarding aspect is actually having an experience like we've had on this movie, where our work has really helped to create an engaging and visceral experience that people are responding to, and just knowing that the work that we've put into this movie is helping to create this world that people believe in and that moves people, that helps to create emotional moments. That's a very rewarding thing for us.
And finally, what are you both working on next?
Well, so Erik and I have a company that we own together, E Squared Sound, and we generally have a few projects in the pipeline at any given time.
Some of them are secret. We can't talk about them yet.
One of our next films that we're working on now that will be coming out around Christmas time is another Paramount release. It's called Bumblebee, and it's basically sort of an extension of the Transformers universe that focuses on the character of Bumblebee, who, interestingly enough, is the one character in that franchise who doesn't speak with words, at least his own words. He learns how to communicate through radio and other media, and so it's kind of an interesting challenge for us to help sort of create this believable and engaging world that doesn't involve a lot of speaking.
Man, that sounds like it'll be a lot of fun for you too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to me today.
Cheers.
Our pleasure.
Our
Yeah,
pleasure.
thank you.